Do you ever feel embarrassed about your financial situation or maybe ashamed of the lack of knowledge you have when it comes to investing? Well, this is exactly where I was several years ago, and I want to give you a little bit more of a personal kind of behind the scenes look into my financial life so that you can see that you're not alone if you are feeling this way. It's completely normal. I hear it from my clients all the time. I want to help you move past those feelings of shame and embarrassed into more like power and control of your financial situation. Let's rewind a little bit so that I can kind of take you through this story of my journey. When my boyfriend, now husband, asked about my financial situation, my heart sank, my cheeks flushed, and I was so embarrassed. This was about 6 or 7 years ago when we really first started dating. I was a financial advisor at this time, working under a pretty crappy compensation structure that was getting worse by the month, but he didn't know that. We had just started dating. I should have been the one making bank with lots to show for it. I had already at this point grilled him about his finances, so it was only natural that he asked about mine. When we first started dating, I kind of thought he might be a client versus a husband. So that's why I was like kind of just trying to feel around, like, where is your finances and what are they like? As I revealed my reality, I held in tears. I immediately justified my position, explaining my compensation structure and how change was just around the corner. Anyways, I had a few years that I did make $45,000, but where had that money gone? I saved, but something always came up and it just wiped it all out. So at that moment, I had to confess to him that my net worth was a negative $50,000. My boyfriend, on the other hand, was, and it's so weird to call him my boyfriend because he's my husband, but anyways, this is part of the story. He was doing so much better than I was. He had $80,000 in his bank, although it was not invested. It was just sitting in cash. And I think maybe about $40,000 in his 401k. That was kind of his position, but he was 6 years ahead of me. So, there is that. Growing up, my mom always said that God would provide just enough. Never more and never less. That's the belief I was subconsciously carrying into adulthood and living out. Do you have any beliefs like that from your childhood? Let me know in the comments below so we can kind of just undo all of this. But when I heard that question, it struck my heart and I was forced to face reality. I was not doing a good job of managing my money. It's easy to say that I just needed to make more money, but we know from tons of stories that if you never learn to live within your means, you cannot get ahead financially. You might have more things or travel more, but no amount of money can replace that security and peace that comes from having some money in the bank. Having a mom from India, I also learned that there's always someone somewhere living on less than you and doing okay. If you can relate to the feeling of being embarrassed or ashamed of your finances, I want you to know I deeply feel your pain. We aren't taught anything about proper financial management or planning, let alone investing, but we think we should have it all figured out for some reason. But how? Literally how? This stuff isn't a skill set that we just naturally pick up like walking and talking. Someone has to actually teach us this. If you're like me, your parents didn't teach you much about money except maybe what not to do, but no disrespect to them, they weren't taught what to do either. My mom had no idea about credit cards, credit scores, student loans, investing. So how was she supposed to teach me any of this? It's part of why I'm so determined to break the cycle in our family and shift us into generational wealth, and why I want to help you do the same. I know it's possible to make this shift because 6 years into my dedicated effort, we have grown our net worth to over $700,000 in our investment accounts and investing accounts for nearly half of that. It was a slow start that first couple of years, but as I kept going, I used that feeling of shame and embarrassment to really fuel my determination. And the more I invested, the more I was rewarded. I went from feeling defeated and embarrassed 6 years ago to feeling like I've made up for all of that wasted time. You can have this shift too, even if you're deeper in debt than I was and starting out later. The key is to decide that you're going to do things differently. I'm here to help you along the way. And if you're deep in debt with high interest rates, it may not be time for you to dive into investing. If that's you, I do have a financial foundation kit that you can check out linked below. It does come with a debt payoff strategy and a tutorial, and it will be really helpful to get you to that next level and be ready to step into investing. If you're ready to stop feeling ashamed for your lack of knowledge and start taking control of your financial well-being while accelerating your progress towards your goals, join my 3-part workshop starting soon. Details are all linked below. It's completely free. I want to see you there. Let me know in the comments if you're embarrassed about your finances. It's so common, and I want to encourage you to keep learning and leaning into your ability to make lasting change. And I'm here to support you along the way, so be sure to join me in that workshop, and I'll see you next time. Bye.